Fire rips through London apartment building. Some 30 people have been taken to the hospital, and more are feared trapped after a massive blaze tore through an apartment block in London. The fire started shortly before 1 a.m. on Wednesday, inside the 27-story Grenfell Tower in West London. Residents encountered corridors and stairwells thick with smoke as they fled the building, which lacked a central fire alarm. The blaze raged from the second floor all the way up to the top. 200 firefighters and 40 fire trucks were on the site to battle the inferno, which continued for hours. Authorities have reported that people have died, but could not confirm how many. The cause of the fire has yet to be determined. A resident group had repeatedly warned that Grenfell was a fire risk and had reportedly already narrowly avoided a fire disaster in 2013. Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. Fire! Old photos suggest fire brought down the Titanic. An enormous and uncontrollable fire could be the main reason the Titanic sank on its disastrous maiden voyage more than a century ago. According to Irish journalist Sana Maloney, 30-foot-long black marks seen on the hull of the Titanic before it left Belfast shipyard in 1912 are proof that a huge fire sunk the ship. The marks can be seen in old photos discovered by Maloney and point to a blaze in a coal room that would have reached temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius and warped the ship's steel bulkhead. Maloney says the marks appear on the exact area where the Titanic hit an iceberg on its way from Britain to New York before sinking to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Some 1,500 people died, making the sinking of the Titanic one of the worst disasters in maritime history. Maloney's theory was presented in a TV documentary shown in the UK earlier this week. He said the ship's owners were aware of the fire and even took the unusual step of reversing into the dock to hide the damage from passengers. Maloney said that even though the fire was known, the significance was downplayed and the Titanic should never have been put to sea. Hoverboard fire claims first life in the U.S. A rechargeable hoverboard has been blamed for a house fire last Friday night that killed a toddler in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. 2-year-old victim Ashanti Hughes is the first person in the United States to be killed by a hoverboard fire. She died in the hospital on Saturday morning as a result of her injuries. According to the coroner, the toddler suffered 95% full-thickness burns to her body. Her death was ruled an accident. The blaze ripped through a house in Harrisburg after the hoverboard caught fire while it was recharging. Family members reportedly heard sizzling and crackling coming from the hoverboard. 2 other young girls who lived at the house were also injured in the blaze. They were said to be in critical condition. Ashanti's father and a teenage boy were released from the hospital after they were treated for smoke inhalation. A firefighter was killed after he was injured in a car crash on his way to the scene. According to police, the crash was caused by a 19-year-old woman driving a stolen vehicle while high on drugs. Ashanti's death will once again highlight the dangers of hoverboards. The devices have made headlines in recent years after causing several fires around the country. Due to safety fears, hoverboards have been banned by several airlines, meaning passengers are not allowed to take them in their carry-on or checked luggage. Reports indicate that some hoverboards have caught fire or exploded due to overcharged lithium-ion batteries. Airlines fear the gadgets could pose a potential risk while on board an aircraft. In the UK, authorities said that 88% of 17,000 hoverboards examined at British entry points were deemed a safety risk. Some experts suggest that the way hoverboards are bashed around while moving makes it more likely their batteries will be punctured and then later explode. Meanwhile, others say that inefficient charging, overheating, and shoddy wiring could all be responsible for the devices catching fire.
House fire on Christmas morning kills 4 in California. Police are investigating the cause of a fire at a California home on Friday that tragically killed a mother and her 3 young children. Big Bear Lake resident Jose Carlos woke up on Christmas morning to the smell of smoke and went out to investigate. Outside, he saw one side of his Southern California home on fire and attempted to extinguish the flames with a garden hose but failed. Carlos ran back inside for his family, eventually retreating because the fire was too intense. Firefighters found him outside the house badly burned. Rescuers managed to pull Carlos's wife out of the home but were unable to resuscitate her. The fiery inferno claimed the lives of 4 people, including the couple's 3 children. Carlos was later airlifted to a hospital, though his condition is unknown. Authorities are speculating that the fire was sparked accidentally but have not ruled anything out.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Shocking new video from Taiwan water park fire as one victim is pronounced dead. A tragic explosion occurred at a Colored Play Asia party on Saturday at the Formosa Water Park in New Taipei City, Taiwan, leaving 498 partygoers with serious burns. 202 of the victims are in critical condition, and one 20-year-old woman who was in attendance has died from injuries sustained from the explosion and resulting fire. The fireball was caused when flammable colored powder that was being sprayed out into the crowd ignited from an unknown heat source. Investigators hypothesized that the fire could have been initially caused by either the heat from the stage lights, someone smoking a cigarette, or a spark in the crowd. The organizer of the event and 2 technicians were arrested in response to the accident and have since been released on bail. The organizer of the party, Lu Chong-chi, has taken full responsibility for the accident. The only death reported so far is a 20-year-old woman who was taken off of life support on Monday after suffering second-degree burns to 90% of her body. In the aftermath of the explosion, colored powder has been banned from parties, as doctors are worried that some partygoers inhaled the powder, which may cause respiratory problems. Skin grafts are being reallocated from around Taiwan to assist with the large number of burn victims at Mackey Memorial Hospital in Taipei. The water park has subsequently closed out of respect for the victims while an investigation is ongoing.
Patient's fart ignites during laser op. Have you ever wondered if your farts are flammable? Well, they are, as one Tokyo surgery patient reportedly found out the hard way back in April. The patient was receiving a surgical procedure on her cervix at Tokyo's Medical University Hospital. That procedure reportedly involved a laser. You know where this is going, right? When the patient's ass exhaled, the gas from the fart connected with the irradiation of the laser and ignited. This resulted in a back-end blowout that set the place ablaze. The resulting fart-induced fire left the woman with burns to her waist, legs, and, most of her body. An investigating committee ruled last week that the fart caused the fire, saying there were no other flammable materials present.